Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden thinking error that quietly runs the show in almost every decision you make, from your money to your career. Let's get right into it.
Okay, picture this. You're walking down the street and you find 20 euros on the ground. Feels pretty good, right? A nice little win for your day. Now, let's flip that. Imagine you reach into your pocket and realize you've lost 20 euros. Oof, that feeling, it's not just a little bad, is it? It's so much worse. The sting of that loss just hits way, way harder than the joy of the gain.
So what's the deal with that? It's the exact same amount of money. But our gut reaction is completely unbalanced. Why is that? Well, this experience, let's call it the 20 euro feeling. It isn't just some weird quirk you have. It's actually a fundamental piece of how all our minds are wired.
See, this feeling is absolutely not a coincidence. It's a well-known and incredibly powerful bias that's baked into our thinking.
And the official name for this is loss aversion. All it really means is that we are hardwired to feel the pain from a loss much more intensely than we feel the pleasure from an equal gain. And here's the key part. Because of this, we'll often work way harder to avoid losing something than we will to gain that very same thing.
So where on earth does this come from? Is our brain just broken? Well, not exactly. Think of it more like a very old, very stubborn glitch in our programming.
This chart here shows it perfectly. And get this, research shows that the psychological punch of a loss is roughly twice as powerful as the good feeling from a gain of the same size. So, gaining 50 euros might give your happiness a little bump, but losing 50 euros, it sends it absolutely plummeting. It's a completely lopsided emotional response.
And this isn't some new thing our brains came up with. Nope. This mental wiring goes way, way back. We're talking deep evolutionary roots that were once essential for survival.
Just think back to our ancient ancestors for a second. Gaining some extra food, that was great, a nice bonus. But losing the only food they had, that could be a death sentence. For them, avoiding loss wasn't about feelings, it was about staying alive. So our brains developed this super sensitive alarm system for losses. The world has changed a ton since then, but that ancient software is still running in our heads today.
Okay, so this ancient programming has some major consequences for us in the modern world. It can actually be the very thing that keeps us stuck in places we don't want to be. Let me show you how.
Here's a classic experiment. You get a choice. Option 1, I hand you 50 euros guaranteed. It's yours. Option 2, we flip a coin. If it's heads, you get 100 euros. If it's tails, you get nothing.
So what do you think most people do? Overwhelmingly, they take the guaranteed 50. Even though the odds are technically the same, we just hate risk when it comes to gains. The sure thing just feels so much safer.
But watch what happens when we flip the script and talk about losses instead.
So in this scenario, you're going to lose money no matter what. Option 1, you have a guaranteed loss of 50 euros. Or option 2, we flip that same coin. Heads, you lose 100 euros, but tails, you lose nothing at all.
And now, everything changes. Suddenly, most people choose to gamble. They become risk-seeking. Why? Because the pain of a guaranteed loss feels so awful that we're willing to risk an even bigger loss just for the slim chance to avoid losing anything. That fear completely hijacks our decision-making.
And you see this trap us all the time in real life. It's why people hold on to a failing stock, because selling it makes the loss real, and that hurts. It's why we're so scared of big changes, like a new job. We obsess over losing our current comfort and totally ignore what we might gain. It just makes us stick with the status quo, because doing nothing feels safer than risking a potential loss.
So what's the real cost of letting this bias call the shots? What's the price we pay for always playing it safe?
Honestly, the dangers are pretty huge. It stops us from taking the smart, calculated risks that we need to grow. It locks us into bad decisions way past their expiration date. It totally warps our financial choices, and it just flat out slows our personal growth by making us operate from a place of fear instead of opportunity. When don't lose is your only goal, you can't really win.
But here's the good news. We can fight back. We can't just delete this programming, but we can learn to manage it. We can take back control from this ancient automatic response.
And one of the most powerful moves you can make is to just reframe the entire decision. When you're afraid to make a change, don't just focus on what might go wrong if you do. Instead, ask yourself this: what is the cost of doing nothing? Because sometimes staying right where you are is the biggest risk of all.
So here are 4 real steps you can take. Number 1, reframe it just like we said. 2, stop thinking of it as just one bad outcome. Instead, think about a whole range of possibilities.
3. Try to separate your emotions from the actual math. Your feelings will always scream about the loss. Let the numbers talk too. And 4. Just zoom out. Will this loss really matter in 5 years, or is it a small price to pay for a huge long-term win?
It's so important to remember that having this bias doesn't mean you're weak or flawed. It just means you have a normal human brain that's trying its best to protect you using a survival guide that's thousands of years old.
But that same protective instinct, it can so easily become a prison, one that keeps you from ever taking the chances you need to take to build a better life.
So what does this all boil down to? It means that real growth, whether it's with your money, your career, or just your life, it often requires the courage to accept small, manageable losses so you can go after much bigger, more important gains. And simply understanding that this bias exists is your first and most powerful step to beating it.